All right, all right. Good evening, United Nation. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Happy Monday. It's past halfway in No Excuses November, and I've seen a lot of people really do a lot of great stuff this month. I myself have been very, very busy and talking to a lot of you guys, texting a lot of people, calling a lot of people. I've gotten some amazing calls in the last few days. And, some of those calls are already thinking about how to finish the month and also how to project this in December and in 2020. So I like the way people are thinking already. They're planning a year out. They're planning their work, and they're planning their agenda and their calendar. And this is exactly what you do in business, right? And one of the things that I want to talk about today is discuss that, I was talking to a few leaders and I was wondering, how many people that are in United right now or that are active in United right now were in another business, in another network marketing company. And the reality is that if you're my age or Ron's age or, past probably 30 years old, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, you've been in one form or another involved in a network marketing company or being prospected, shown, or otherwise joined at some point in your life, right? For me, it came early in life. For me, it came when I was like 14, 15. I was shown Herbalife back in Ecuador, of all places.
Wow.
And that's where I saw it for the first time. Had I had a good mentor back then, because I didn't know very much about what this was, and they basically just handed me some products to try to sell them to people that needed to lose weight, I would have probably developed something out of it. But the reality is that I went in and out of network marketing for a few years, didn't do many companies really. I think a total of 3 in my whole career, network marketing career. And now, of course, being involved in United and in my opinion, being part of the disruption of this model, which is, very, very exciting because I know people that have done 10, that have done 15, right? Or people like yourself, Ron, that have done maybe a couple, but you had success at one of them in a big way. So
Yeah, just the Amway business.
yeah, exactly. You didn't do anything before?
I don't really count the company that I married into.
Okay. Because you didn't build it, right?
No, it didn't make sense to me. I was
Yeah.
21 years old and I just wasn't ready, to be honest, and
Yeah.
really didn't know the potential.
No, and what you say right now is very true. Timing is very important, right? The timing when you arrive to people's minds and hearts is very important because they might not be ready for it at the time that you're showing it to them. So, I think one of the things that I wanted to circle back today on this call, we've had really some powerful calls, and I'm going to open the mics here in a little bit so that some of the leaders can give you their perspective about this. But, one of the biggest things, and I watched a small video this week from a guy, his name is Carlos Munoz. He's a very, very successful businessman in Mexico and, huge speaker. He speaks all over the world, obviously in Spanish, and he coaches CEOs at the very, very high level and also business owners that are doing more than $1 million a year. And he's very sought after. He's very much so matter-of-fact guy. And he said something in this very short video that I think was very key to me, and that I think looking back at many successful people that I know, plus my own experience, he was talking about what's the most powerful word in business, right? You can choose among a million of them. But to me, listening to him and understanding this, and I've been thinking about this for probably 5 days now, is the most powerful word in business, in my opinion, is accountability. And the reason I say this, and I think that the reason behind it, is that we tend to be accountable to people that are not ourselves, right? If you're married, for example, I have to be accountable to my wife, right? If I say something to her that I'm gonna get something done around the house, for example, I better get it done, right? And I better get it done sometime soon. Otherwise, I'm never gonna end hearing about it. Hey, when are you gonna get this done? When are you gonna get this done, right? Because I've already given my word. If you have a job, you have to be accountable to your schedule, right? If you have a time that you go in, a time to you go out, if you have directions, deadlines, things that you have to do for your job, typically, if you want to keep that job, guess what you do? You're accountable. You commit to it, you fulfill it, and you do the things you need to do to get there, right? However, I think that a lot of people along the way don't lose the accountability to themselves at some point or another, right? And then you have a big dream about building a business like United and creating something for yourself, and you have to realize what is the reason that made you start in the first place, right? What is the why that really took you to a point to make a decision to get started, right? Because I think this is really the driving force for any entrepreneur. At the very, very root of our desire to better ourselves, to go make more money, to go help other people is that why of what we want to do. Some of us know it, can describe it, can tell about it, can talk about it, can write it down many times over. And some of us do not really think about it too much, although we should. And I think this is something that you should keep at the top of your mind day in, day out. Why am I doing this? Because this reason has to be so crystal clear in your mind. It has to be so crystal clear in your heart, and it has to come out of your mouth so often that you are not only saying it, thinking it, but you're feeling it, right? And when you are feeling your why, you create this force within you that drives you to action, that drives you to movement, that drives you to doing the things that are required to accomplish that why, right? Because it is required for you to drive into action and for you to do the things that are needed. So the why that comes into play has to be clear for you. So I want you to try an exercise this week, and I want you to try an exercise even today. When you finish this call, please spend 15-30 minutes writing down your why, writing down the reason you started this business, the reason that is the driving force that is motivating you and is driving you to go accomplish something that can possibly change your life in an amazing way and change the lives of many others. Now, it could be one thing, it could be two things, it could be three things, 10 things, whatever it is, but write it down with details so that your brain can start understanding this. Your heart can start absorbing. And then eventually what's going to happen, and it happens to me, when I talk about it with people that are close to me, I get emotional. I get emotional about the why. I remember when I first started my business back in the early 2000s, my why, at that point I was single, my why was to really be completely independent of anybody else and have a future for myself that would allow me to stay in the United States on a permanent basis, right? Because what if I never got a residency, right? I would have had to go back to Ecuador. What if I never became a US citizen? I would have had to go back to Ecuador. But my why was my dad talked to us about so much about the US when we were little and growing up, and what an amazing place it was, and the land of opportunity, the land of freedom. the land of where all your dreams can come true. I believed that so much that I would be emotional about it. And my driving force in those early years that I was single and full of energy was precisely that. It's like, I want to do my best to earn my visa, earn my green card, earn my citizenship. It was not given to me. I earned it. I wasn't born here. I had to earn it. It took me 20 years to become a US citizen. One of the happiest moments of my life. When I got that green card, man, it was like so amazing. When I got that visa that allowed me to work in this country, because I came with a student visa, it was awesome because I'm like, man, I can go make money now. Before I wasn't allowed to make money with a student visa. So all these milestones along the way were my why, and I remember writing them often, right? Then I meet this amazing woman in church, Myra, and I still remember to this day. I'm there. It was a Sunday service, and she walks with her sisters and through the main doors, and the heavens open, and I see her, and I was starstruck, right? And it's like love at first sight. Who is this lady, right? And of course, I pursued her, and I looked for her, and she ended up being. I was a leader at my church in those days, and then she joined my leadership class that I was teaching. And of course, I had the guts to ask her out, and one thing led to another. Within 6 months, we were married, right? Our pastor was, no, too quick, too soon. You guys have to get to know each other. I mean, we were already pretty much in our 30s. We already knew what we wanted. And then of course, that was something that she became a big part of my why then. And I remember when we were dating, guys, one of the cool things is we got a piece of paper, just kind of like this with lines. And I told her, hey, you know what? As we embark on this journey together, we should write down what we want out of this relationship. We should write down what we want out of our marriage if we are to get married. And then we wrote a list of probably 15, 20 things that we wanted. Among those, what kind of house we wanted to have. Among those, how many kids we were going to have. Among those, the places we would travel to. Among those, the things that we wanted to do together. And I remember that we wrote it down in very much detail. We wanted to have 2 more kids because Isaac was already in the picture then. And I'll tell you the story about Isaac later on at another time. I think, Ron, you know it in detail. But, we wanted to have 2 more kids. So, time goes by. We put the paper away, and we used to look at it once every year or so and upgrade our goals. And for a little while, we didn't look at it for maybe 4 or 5 years, 6 years. But we kept working together, right? We kept kind of working towards these dreams that we had. And eventually we pulled back the sheet 5, 7 years later, and we started going down those lines. And guess what? Every single thing that we wrote down had become true. Every single little thing, right? Because we burnt it in when the emotions were so high when we were writing these things that they were burnt in our hearts. They were burnt in our brains. And among those things, it was we wanted to have two more kids. And then, of course, along the line, Myra gets pregnant, and then she starts saying, well, I want to get pregnant only once more because it's tough, man. Pregnancy is tough on girls, right? And it's a lot. So I'm like, man, I don't know, but we wrote down 2 more kids. I don't know what's, I'm trusting. We wrote down 2 more kids, and she would argue with me, right? And she said, no, this is it. This is it, Carlos. This is my last pregnancy. And it was a tough one. So, halfway into it, or I don't know when they told us, but we go to the doctor, they do an ultrasound, and the doctor says, hey, just like I thought. And we're like, what? We're paranoid, right? We're scared. We're like, what's happening? And he's like, I hear 2 heartbeats. Right? And I'm like, obviously crying my eyes out. Myra almost passed out. She was fainted, because she had to carry twins. But I trusted that we would have 2 more kids, and that was it. There's no twins in my family. There's no twins in her family. But God gave us twins because we asked him for them, because we wrote it down in this piece of paper, right? And then, of course, the doctors try to explain it with all the science and all the things about, hey, because she's in her 30s and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, but we know a lot of people in their 30s that can't even have children, right? They try hard and they can't. So anyways, this is just to tell you, you have to write down your whys. You have to write down what you want. You have to be aware of exactly of how you want your life to turn out. And then comes the big word, right? The accountability to make things happen. And if you embarked on a journey of building a business, of starting a project, of being an entrepreneur, you have to be just as accountable to yourself and to your business as you would be to unemployment, as you would be to somebody that you care about, as you would be to anything else. There's a lot of people out there, guys, that are building a business, but their calendar doesn't have anything. It's as white as this. There's no appointments. There's no blocks of time where they dedicate to their business. If anything comes up, they do that instead, right? If you have to make phone calls or you have to contact people, or on Mondays you have to invite people to the leadership call, and if you don't get to it, then it's totally fine, right? Because something came up. Guess what? That's not being accountable to your business. That's not being accountable to yourself. That's not being accountable to your why. And accountability is really that. The opportunity is free. The only person that can keep you accountable is yourself. And it starts with you really planning out the time that you're going to spend with your business. Planning out the time that you're going to invest in really doing the activities that are going to take you to where you want to go. Because otherwise, what happens is we're fooling ourselves. We're just spinning wheels. And we are thinking that we are in business, but in reality, you're not in business if you're not doing the activities that take you to do a business. Because just think about it and pretend for a minute that you are your boss. If this last 18 days of November, you were your boss, a separate person, and you would look at your performance and you would see, okay, let me double check, Carlos. Man, you told me you were going to work 10 hours in your business this last week, but I see that you only did 2. I see that you only did 2 phone calls. I see that you only reached to 2 people. I see that you didn't do much. How would the boss feel? Maybe a little disappointed? Yeah, I'm sure. Would you get fired? I think Carlos will get fired, right? Now, that's the thing. You can't fire yourself out of your own business. I mean, you could technically, but guess what? It gives you the chance to take inventory of what you have done so far and what you can do in the next few days, few weeks. And of course, as you go into the new 2020 year, what momentum and what kind of schedule and agenda you want to have for your business. It all depends on how big your why is, right? If your why is just paying off your car loan, then okay, you plan accordingly and you dedicate the time that you need to dedicate. But in reality, you have to really be accountable to yourself. And this is for every area of your life. This is for your health. This is for your fitness. This is for your business. This is for your marriage. This is for your relationship with God. This is with everything, because things don't happen by themselves. And I think that many times when you have a job where you show up and they tell you what to do every day, they are completely destroying you, in my opinion. Because many people lose the capacity of thinking for themselves of how I'm gonna go do things later on, right? And that's why sometimes it's comfortable to go to a place where, okay, I know what to do from A to Z, blah, 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 and the routine kicks in. And then you lose that ability of creating, you lose that ability of producing, you lose that ability of developing something over time that compounds and that creates momentum. And the biggest asset really to your business in United is creating and building those relationships with people that are gonna over time flourish into something so huge and so big that really, something said this the other day, your next hello could be the one that changes everything. The person that you meet at the grocery store, the person that you meet at the volunteer opportunity that you went and did for your kids, or at the soccer team or whatever, that next hello could be the next Kevin Weldon. That next hello could be the Ron Yeager that you were about to meet. But unless you put yourself in those situations and you are aware that, hey man, I gotta be accountable to my own business. It's been 18 days already and I haven't done squat. Then, you need to start really pushing yourself a little bit. Getting outside of your comfort zone. So very important. So very important. And if you struggle with this, find an accountability partner. Find an accountability mentor. Find somebody that you can call and say, hey, Ron, man, look, I'm gonna sponsor 4 or 5 people this month. It's the first of the month. I'm telling you this because I need help with my accountability for my business. So I want to tell you what my goal is for this month. Can you please help me stay accountable? Can you please, I'm telling you because I know that, 5 days into it, 10 days into it, I might not be where I want to be, but I want you to please check on me once in a while, just so that I can be a little more accountable and start building this habit of success that is so key to achieve things. Because nothing happens on autopilot. Would you do that for me, Ron? So then Ron is on the other end of the line. Guess what he's going to say? He's not going to say, no, I can't do that. Of course, right? Thank you, Carlos, for giving me permission to keep you accountable, because otherwise it's hard, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
It's a volunteer thing at the end of the day, right? Everybody has its own business. So unless you allow somebody to keep you accountable, they won't be on you saying, hey man, what'd you do? Right? It's like, look guys, there's no mystery that I love to go to the gym, right? I talk about it a lot. And the reason I talk about it a lot is because a lot of that discipline carries over to my business life. And one thing that I love about the gym is that, man, those coaches, they kick my butt. They keep me accountable. They count my reps, right? If I'm going too light on the slam ball or the wall ball or the barbell or whatever, they tell me, man, you're doing too light. Come on. Step it up. But you know what? I've given them permission to do that. When I went in and when I started training, I gave them permission to push me so that I can be pushed to a place that by myself I couldn't get to. And the results of that, guys, have been way over and above of what I ever expected, right? I'm 43 years old. I'm in the best shape of my life. I can run for miles. I go 40 minutes. Yes, I get tired, but 2-3 years ago, 5 years ago, you would tell me to go run outside for a mile and I would be, spitting my lungs out. Why? Because I've allowed somebody else that is in a position of authority to keep me accountable to my goals, because I told them, look, this is why I want to do this. I'm already 40. I'm feeling the midlife crisis, right? And I want to be young for my kids. I want to be able to go play soccer with them and keep up with them and even beat them. I'm competitive enough that I want to go beat my kids at sports, right? They'll have to earn the right to go beat me in sports. One day they will, because they're younger than me. But when that day comes, is because they worked and they earned it on their own merit, not because I let them win. And Myra gets mad at this. He's like, why don't you let them win sometimes? He's like, yeah, because that's not good for them. They need to learn how to lose, right? But anyways, guys, accountability, it's so powerful, guys. So look, I hope my message comes across the right way, and maybe you can help me reinforce, Ron. But it really, the reality is this: sometimes on our own, it's easy for us to not do something that will take us to greatness, right? But when we allow somebody else that we respect, that we love, that we admire, that we look up to keep us accountable, it opens a door that helps you stay on track and fulfill these milestones that will take you to success. Some of us are at a place in our lives where we no longer need so much that accountability, because we've learned how to keep ourselves accountable in business. But at any given point in time, I needed that too, right? I needed that accountability. I needed that accountability partner, mentor, guide, coach, however you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's just that person that cares for you, that is in sync with your goals, that is going to the same places you are in business, in this case, and that is able to give you a push here and there without you getting offended, without you getting your feelings hurt, because you've given permission to that person to keep you accountable, and you've allowed that person to keep you on track. What do you think, Ron?
That's absolutely the secret sauce to my success in the industry. I was plateaued, frustrated, and I was in large part, I was kind of doing it on my own. So I reached up to somebody above me that was at a much higher level. And I said, can I tie into you? Can I get some kind of accountability program going or something that I don't know what to do? And he was excited to partner with me. And he said, I've been waiting for your phone call. Because Carlos, we're not going to push. We want to create a pull. And the only way that works is if somebody comes to us, because then they're asking for our help, just like you needed the trainer to take you to your next level of fitness and beyond. And so when that door is open to us, absolutely, we're going to say 1,000%, we will do whatever we can to help you accomplish your goals, but let's talk about them first. We need to know where you're going and how committed you are and those types of things. So it absolutely catapulted me multiple levels. I know I would not have had the success I had in building that prior company, not even close, if I had not gotten into an accountability system with somebody that knew more about the business, had more success. I could lean on them for three-way calls, all those types of things. And I know without that, I know I would not have had anywhere close to the success I did.
I believe you, brother. I believe you, because it not only allows you to stay on track, but it invites the person that you are talking to be fully committed to you as well.
Yes.
Because you've raised your hand. And when you do this, you say, I am a team player 100%. I am in this for real. I am serious about this business, and I want to build it. And these are my goals, just like you said.
Yes.
So
if we don't know your goals, we don't know how serious you are. And if you don't communicate that to us, we're not going to single you out and say, gosh, James, why aren't you, are you doing anything? I mean, no, we have to wait for you to come to us, because unwanted counsel, unwanted advice never goes anywhere. It has to be asked for. And when the time is right, and each of you on this call is going to know when the time is right, when you're really ready to go get done what needs to get done in your life and with this business. There are people up ahead that are waiting for your phone call, waiting for your email, your text. And guys, 2020 is going to be an absolutely amazing year in United. And now is the absolute, don't wait to set your goals and all these things in January and do the New Year's thing. Start doing all that planning for 2020 now as you're wrapping up the year. You can't wait till January 1 to now get the ball rolling. You need to have your planning and everything well in place in advance. And we'll do all we can to help you become successful.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ron, for your words, guys. I've added a few of you to the panelists. Feel free to open your mics and your video. If you want to speak, we would like to see your lovely face, so that we can see your beautiful smiles. There you go. And feel free.
Wonderful words, Brother Ron and Brother Carlos. Thank you so much for just continuing to lead the charge. And I wish for all of us, for me included, that we could have a Carlos and a Ron in our back pocket, that wherever we go, they just, like, beam me up, Scotty, that kind of thing. But
that's what cell phones are for.
There you go. You're right. Thank God for technology. Yes. But the reality is we are here as a community to empower each other. We hear the phrase all the time, iron sharpens iron. Yet at the same time, the other part of the equation is Ron Yeager is not going to be able to build James Catina's business. James Wood is not going to be able to build Gilmore Gabriel's business. We are here to provide encouragement. We've got all the tools in the world. I mean, we're in a season right now in United where you talk about powerful words of empowerment. We have it. But even that's just not going to build this business for me. It really comes down to me, and I think Ron said it. Can I articulate what my desires are? Do I know what my why is, as you spoke about, Carlos? And I think when you get to that point, it's really that really revs up your engine, and you have direction. Not only where you're going, but you have the tools necessary, and you have that empowerment. One thing, and I'll get out the way real quick, something that I've been focusing on, and I went back into something that I wrote, and I looked at the date. It was February of this year, February 21st. So not quite a year ago. But it talks about gratitude. And I think that gratitude oftentimes is so underestimated in our self-development. Here's some of the things that I wrote. Gratitude is the fastest way to rewire your nervous system and free you from worry, anxiety, and lower emotions. See what it is that you desire in your life to look like, and feel the gratitude as if your prayer has already been answered. You can feel joy, freedom, unlimited, and value in return. And I just want to, in closing, I just want to submit that to you, because I think we're all at a place, as we come to the end of the year, we're thinking about the holiday seasons, about gifts, and, do I have the budget in place in my United business? What does that look like? And instead of worry and anxiety and being stressed out, I submit to you, as I encourage myself, live in a place of gratitude. When you can live in that place of gratitude, I really believe it frees you up from the inside out to be able to say, look at what I have. Look at the health that my family has. I have a roof over my head. I do have a job. It may not be the job that I want to be in long term, but I have a job. And so whoever you are, wherever you're at in life, let that gratitude start to open you up, because I'm telling you, you have everything you need to be great. when you live in that place of gratitude. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. So very true.
I'm going to hold off until everybody else gets a chance, Carlos.
Sounds good, brother. Everybody else, get a chance.
Hey, Carlos. Man, hard to follow. Hard to follow you guys. I would like to say, and I might be speaking for a handful of people out there. I've talked to a handful of folks that just don't know what their why is. I don't, and sometimes they let that get in the way of them maybe taking action or moving forward. So to those people, I would say, don't stress. Sometimes it's one of those questions not everybody asks themselves, and then they're thrown into this entrepreneurial environment, and they feel a little pressure to kind of come out and try to figure it out. I would just say, stay plugged into this community. One thing about this industry, and obviously we're biased, so specifically United is, overwhelmingly so, most people they just want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than, the 9 to 5 or the job that they have to plug into every day, and they're just a number or a cog. Plugging into this community where there's no judgment, no egos, everybody's cheering and rooting for your success. If you just plug in and stick around this core group of people that are engaged, excited, we're doing recognition, everybody's having fun. I'll tell you, I would guess that at some point you'll start to realize what those goals are. But along the way, the really cool thing about network marketing or a business like United is, it's one of the very few businesses or positions that, while you're on your way to getting good, you can actually make a lot of significance. You can create a lot of significance and abundance as well. And then maybe on that journey, you'll figure out exactly what the why is. But until then, just stay plugged in. Stay focused on, committing to being on these Zooms. We've got all different things that we plug into. I always recommend go to the different Facebook pages that you're a part of in United, and go to the announcements and click the settings so that you get every single announcement. I just think, as almost a requirement for building the business, you would want to get every single notification from the groups that you're paying attention to see what's going on, to see who's joined the business, to see the news, the alerts, the updates, and to feel the pulse, the community, the culture. And I would just take a guess and say, if you do that, along the way, you're going to figure out what your passion is. And like I said, along the way, we have such I can't help from laughing because we have a lot of fun. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and have fun along the way.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Hey, when you enjoy the journey and focus on the process, like Kevin said before, then time goes by like that, guys. And before you know it, you've built a monster business.
Hey, Carlos, I'm going to jump in real quick. I'm not going to, there's a couple more things I'll share after, but because of what James just said, I've got something that's right on with what he was talking about.
Yes, go ahead. Even though you're using 2 terms, not 1.
What? I'm going to use 2 terms. I'm going to use 2 terms.
Right.
James Katina, you're right about gratitude. That's so important. So important to start your day off with gratitude. But I've got another friend that I'm working with right now that was experiencing exactly what Brother Wood was talking about not knowing what his why was in his 40s and just really struggling to understand what he's supposed to do. So this is something that's been in my studies that I want to read real quick. It says, but I can't just drift through life. Why can't you? This is a conversation. A man must have a purpose or a goal. What is your purpose? I don't know. It changes every day. I have never known what I want. I don't know. Well, maybe the purpose of life is something entirely different from what you think it is right now. Have you ever considered that possibility? Maybe you're on the edge of a great secret. By drifting through life, don't you mean irresponsibility? No. You will want to take full responsibility for your family and your finances and other everyday things. The point is not to live internally from fixed and habitual attitudes, but rather to be loose, flexible to change for the better. And then a man becomes a better husband, a better father, a better citizen. But what is the purpose of life? You can state it in several ways, but they all mean the same thing. The purpose is to find your true self, to grow spiritually, because our spiritual DNA is perfect, to develop into consciousness and awakened human beings. When we seek first the kingdom of heaven, all other purposes are added to us, like loving someone and being loved. It says, I sense you are trying to tell me something of great significance, but I don't grasp it as of yet. Welcome it, let it come, it will. So for people that right now may be struggling, Carlos, they may, because brother, I used to be in this boat for years and years and years. I didn't know, I thought I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be that, I'm supposed to be a singer. There are a lot of people that struggle with that why. But if you will work on yourself, you're going to figure out what that why is, and it's not very far away. If you will be expectant of that, it can happen, and it can happen so quickly, but you have to have a desire to want to know. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to have one more comment after we get a chance to visit with a few other people real quick.
Thanks, bro. That's awesome.
Great word, Kevin.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm looking at the tile here of all these faces here, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I feel like we're all on the same page about what our motivation is. And, you know, I'm new into this entrepreneurship, and every day I'm learning something new about myself. And I've learned that what's really resonating more than anything, in order for my business to grow, I have to grow. And so I'm learning that my motivation matters. It really matters. And it's not just me, what I want. You know, I don't want this car, or I don't want this house. I don't want this thing, because I know that after a while it's going to become empty. And maybe years down the road, it may just kind of waver. But I want something, I'm learning that I want something that's going to motivate, and that's growth in myself. And whatever I do, whether it's that growth, that I'm happy, and then I'm also happy helping others. Those are reminders for me to let me know that it's that I'm contributing, you know. And so that's just basically it. And what I really love is the fact that I can confidently say all of the men and lady here are great ambassadors for this company. But not only that, great ambassadors as people. And what I want to be able to do is I want to be that for the people that I connect. And if I have a story, I want it to be heartfelt. I want to be sincere. And I can always change it. It could be something that maybe that just as I grow further down the road, but I want that to be something that will touch people, to let them know that, hey, this company is something different. And it's something that just the relationships will, I put in the chat that knowledge, skills, and abilities may be one thing, but relationships, creating relationships last. You can teach anybody all those things. But if you have relationships where you have a culture like this. So I'm just saying, I'm just so grateful, guys. I thank you so much for giving the way you guys give, and I'm just grateful. So thank you, guys.
Good word, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Rich, you bless us with your talents at every opportunity, man. So we appreciate you tons.
Somebody better hurry up.
All right. I'll get Kevin before
Kevin getting the whip
Gilmore.
Well, you know, just kind of piggybacking off of what Rich said about relationships. It's, you know, and Ron, I don't know, you probably relate to this. Like, in the Amway days, we were, taught these core steps that you get. All this is all like, step, 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 and sometimes kind of along the process, you kind of get lost that, it's more about the relationship rather than doing those, anybody could do those core steps without like getting involved in other people's lives. And I would rather be involved in somebody else's life, whether, they get into business or not, because, if they get in, great, let's rock and roll. I don't see why they wouldn't get involved in United, but if they don't, if they get involved in another business, man, be that cheerleader for that person, because you never know. They might come along somebody who's a perfect fit, to be involved in the Trinidad business, and it's like, tell you, hey man, they'll all of a sudden you get this humongous leg that would have never come had you not established that relationship with that individual. And the way I see it is like, and the more you talk to, like Ron, you mentioned before, the chicken list, right? The funny thing about that is the more you start talking to those kind of individuals, they may not necessarily get involved in your business, but they'll probably be your number one supporter because they understand what it takes to be successful. They've been through that journey, and they know, like, hey man, what you're doing is awesome. It may not be for me, but hey, rock on, man. You got it. You can, they'll encourage you and do that. And just being around this group here is, man, it's humbling. It's grateful to be around, all walks of life, and I'm just grateful. Like, we just had this event this Saturday. It was a small gathering, but it was going to be the start of many. So, hey, whoever was there was supposed to be there, and we got a lot of, good time with fellowship, encouraging each other, and just, for me to have my mom there was awesome, and to have that kind of thing going on is just unbelievable. So just grateful for every single one of you guys, and love you, man. And ladies.
Love you, buddy. No, and look, I could feel it when you called me, and I could hear in the background, and I could feel the energy of the people in there of, hey, big things are happening for you, man. I'm so happy for you.
Hey, Carlos.
Steve-O, what's up, buddy?
Hey, just wanted to say, I can't follow all you guys because you guys got a lot of my notes right here in front of me. So I'm kind of laughing at that. But what I do want to say to let other people hear is, guys, I've been doing it for 35 years. And I will tell you, like Kevin Weldon will tell you, he's right beside me on the screen. Just like he will tell you, there's something that is so incredibly different about United. And the family, the fellowship is absolutely awesome. If you haven't been on a Wednesday call, you need to do that. And for me, every facet of this company is so incredibly put together by Carlos, by Ron, by Mike, by Dr. Nico. Guys, I'm just going to tell you, it is, when I say it's the perfect business, have we had problems? I didn't say it, but all companies do. All companies do. Ron's down there in the corner. He's got a smile on his face. Trust me, the big A, they had problems after problems after problems after problems. But look at them. Look at the size they are now. What will a pay plan like we have be later in life? It will be absolutely legacy for sure, guys. I have never been more excited about a company in my life, and for me, I know where I'm going, and I think all of you have heard me say this on the BDC and a few others. I look at 6 months out, 12 months out, 18, 24, and on, guys. I don't look at today. If I don't sign anybody today, whatever. If I don't sign anybody next week, whatever. I know what's coming later. I know what's coming later. So I'm building core for later. So, for me, and I don't want to, and you guys get me going. I talk too much, kind of like Kevin. Go on, Kevin. You're supposed to smile. There you go. There you go. Okay. Anyway, that's all I needed to say. But just wanted to say, great fellowship here. absolutely just ecstatic to be involved with such great leaders. I mean, for me, I can reach out to anybody, and boom, you're there. And I love that. And I love that. And in other companies, you couldn't do that. I couldn't talk to Ron, or I couldn't talk to James, or I couldn't talk to Gilmore because he wasn't in my lineage or whatever. Here,
Right.
I can talk to everybody in the whole company, and we're all helping each other get there. And that is just something nobody else can say they have. And I love that. And I'll jump out of here. Go ahead and let Miss Leanne. She's right there below me. Go ahead, Leanne.
Hey, Steve, if there is such thing as belief transfusion instead of blood transfusion, we need you to give belief transfusion to every person that comes in contact,
There you
so
go.
that it can spread like wildfire.
Amen.
Because
Amen.
man, every time I hear you, my belief level goes up.
Oh yeah, man. I'm telling you what. I know where we're going, Carlos. I know.
I know. Yeah, I know you do.
I mean, I absolutely have no doubt in my mind what's going to be 6 months from now, year from now, 2 years from now. I already know, and I'm just ecstatic. And let's go. All right, I'll jump off here. Go ahead.
Instead of the flu
Appreciate
shot,
it.
get your Steve shot.
Yes, please.
Boost right there. Thank you, Steve.
I think Leanne was getting ready to speak.
Hi.
Hi.
That's peer pressure at its finest, Leah.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave it to Steve, right? Followed by Carlos. So I'm kind of the new kid in this whole mix here. I've done network marketing before. I've done direct sales, really more than network marketing. But you know, I'm so glad that we're talking about this, Carlos and Ron. I think this topic is so important for us to understand what our why is, right? And I feel like that has been my main quest so far. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to Rich and Gilmore and James and said, I just don't know what my why is, and it's because it is so important, right? So I am by no means, I don't know just a lot about what's going on, but this I do know. Become a student of yourself. Study yourself, study your life, study what makes you happy. Be comfortable being alone with yourself and just being and imagining, and what do you want? For me, it was peace. I just wanted some peace in my life. So you know what I did? I started living a peaceful life. And because of that, it's becoming more peaceful. But on top of that, it's drawing other peaceful people toward me. And so I think it's just, it's not just a healthy thing to know what your why is and to be a student of yourself. I think it's good for your business too, because being who you discover that you are and who you enjoy being the fun person, doing the fun things that you like, being the peaceful person, doing the peaceful things that you like. As you do those things, as you live that lifestyle, you meet the other people who are compatible with you. And those are the people that you want to live the rest of your life with. Those are the people that you want in your business, right? I can't say it enough. Start out your day with gratitude. That's on point. Gratitude, just being grateful where you are. And I'm talking to me. Okay. This is, when I say you, I'm talking about me, because it's just transformational. So if you don't know your why, find somebody that has kind of walked that path and they've got an idea of, they got some ideas they can throw out to you. Nobody can write it for you. You're the only one who can discover it, but you're not alone. There are other people who can ask good questions, kind of lead you the way. Anyway, that's
Thanks,
it.
Leanne. You're awesome. Appreciate you. We need a lady lady input every week. So I appreciate you for being there for us.
Amen on that.
Nah, thanks, you guys. You guys keep me on my toes, I have to say.
And it keeps us straightened out in the BDC too. Carlos.
That's right. JW with the jokes.
That's it.
He's got jokes. All right, Kevin, I think we came full circle, man.
I wouldn't want to keep you guys straight. I just got to throw that in there. You guys are great, just like you are, okay? I love y'all.
We love you too, Leanne.
Amen on that. I was falling for her as she was telling that speech. I was like, man, what? I'll quit. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kev.
Steve Dixon. I'm coming to Oklahoma City to see you, bro. Listen, I've been taking a few notes throughout the night, Carlos, and there's a couple of things that I think are real important to share tonight. The first thing I want to say is, and I mentioned this earlier, our spiritual DNA is perfect inside of us. Whether people understand what that means or not, our spiritual DNA is perfect. We already know all the answers. We already know everything. Problem is it's been covered up since the day we were born with other people's ideas, your parents' belief systems. All these other things have been dumped into our subconscious, and that is blocking us from finding our true self. The most important thing that we can do in this lifetime is find out who we are. That's one thing that's never taught. It's never taught in schools. It's very rarely ever even talked about, at least in direct conversation. It's always these hidden messages and Jesus spoke in parables, and a lot of people didn't really understand all that stuff. I'm not a Mike Popovich pastor. And I'm not going to get preachy on you guys, but I will have a couple of references to the Bible, especially from Proverbs, where Solomon tells us, in all of your getting, get understanding. Seek wisdom like you would seek the treasures, the gold, the jewels that you want. Seek wisdom, because wisdom and understanding will help you connect to that perfect spiritual DNA that's inside of every one of us. Think about this right now. If we could completely erase all of our habits, our attitudes, our belief systems, everything that we have right now, if we could erase all of that and just drift around, and then all of a sudden we could program it, do you think your results right now would look different? If you could completely erase everything that you've ever been taught, that you believe, your belief system, and you could connect to that perfect spiritual DNA that's inside of you, and you could reprogram or get back to your default setting, do you think your life would look different right now? I bet you it would. And here's how I can prove it. I'm gonna ask y'all right now, if you woke up in the morning and you were Bill Gates' son, do you think you could go out and make $1 million this year? I bet you think you could. Or Warren Buffett, if Warren Buffett was your father, you woke up tomorrow and he was your father, do you think that you might be thinking differently? Do you think you might have different results over the next 6 to 12 months in your life? There was a quote I read recently that said, the illiterate of the 21st century are not going to be people that can't read and write. The illiterates of the 21st century are going to be people that can't learn, unlearn, and then relearn. Einstein said, you can't solve your problems today thinking the same way you thought when you created them. So guys, you've got to hear this. This is the most important thing that you need to understand. You have to understand that if you don't change the way you think right now, you're not going to see any different results. It doesn't matter the comp plan. It doesn't matter the product. It doesn't matter if Nico is here or not. It doesn't matter. If you don't change the way you're thinking right now, you can expect to get a plus or minus 10% difference in your results over the next few years. Be honest with yourself. Look back over the last 5 years, the last 10 years. Have you seen a plus or minus 10% growth in your business, in your life, in your income? If the answer is no, I can guarantee you that you have not worked on expanding your mind. You have not worked on self-development and personal growth. Those who have, they're seeing increases year after year after year. You have to hear me. If you don't go and work on cleaning out that old paradigm, that old belief system that is not getting you the results that you're looking for, you are not going to have the success that your heart longs for. That perfect person inside you, your true self, is screaming out. Every single one of us on this webinar know what that feels like. You've got this feeling deep down inside you that says something's missing. There's something wrong. What is it? I got that point last year, and it got so strong that I was willing to do whatever it took to go figure it out. Whatever it took. And I promise you, it is the very best thing I could have ever done, because my life will never be the same again. I'm working on me. I'm working on how I think. I'm working on my mind. Carlos has talked about the mind shifting. You have got to shift your beliefs. You've got to shift your attitudes. You've got to shift the way you think, the way you treat people, the way you do. If you know what to do, and we all do, you know what to do in your True United business, and you're not doing it, there is a reason it is called your broken paradigm. In the thinking and the results that I've been studying over the last year, there's a lesson that we do that's called the knowing doing gap. When you know what to do, but you don't do it, there's a problem in your mindset. There's a problem with your paradigm, and that has got to be fixed, or you are not going to have the success that you're looking for. And every single one of us on this webinar right now, we know exactly how to build True United. We know how. We've been talking about it for weeks now. There's people on this webinar right now. You know exactly what to do, but there is a fear, a block inside of you that's keeping you from doing the very things that you know you're supposed to do. What is that? It's your mindset, and that's got to shift. There's a ton of information out there, like Carlos said. Piecing it together can be difficult at times. Carlos has had coaches. The greats in Tiger Woods doesn't go to YouTube and watch videos on how to swing. He goes and gets the coach. Carlos is talking about accountability partners. I've got accountability partners that I count every day to keep me on track with what I want. You know what they told me, Kevin? We're not here to be your friend. Now, we're going to be great friends, don't get me wrong, but we're here to help you. And sometimes that means I got to hear things that are kind of damaging to my pride. I'm just telling it like it is. We have to be honest with ourselves, because until you know where you're at right now, until you are honest and you get rid of all the pretenses, you quit trying to keep up with the Joneses, you worry about your house, you get your house in order. Until you do that, until you recognize and are honest with where you're at, there's no way you can get to where you want to go. Because how are you going to get there? You're not even honest about where you're at right now. If you're in Maine and you think you're in California and you're trying to get to Texas, I promise you ain't going to get there. So know where you're at, know where you want to go, and have a desire to do whatever it takes that's moral and ethical. Are you able? Are you willing? Make a decision, set your goals, write them down, have an accountability partner. Because if you don't do those things, guys, if you don't get that mind shifted, if you don't start thinking differently, you're not going to see the success, the results that you want in your life. You are worth it. You're worth it. People look and say, oh, well, to hire a coach, it's going to cost this, or to get this program, it's going to cost that. I'm telling you right now, you are worth living the life that your inner, perfect, spiritually created DNA life is looking for. You're worth it. You're going to blow money over the next 2 or 3 years anyway. You're going to blow it. What's it going to get for you in the long haul? You've got to get that mind shifted. I want to see every single one of us happy, living the life that we want. But if we're operating on some belief system from our parents, and listen, it's not that they were bad. They just didn't know. 1% of the people make 96% of the money. 1% of the people make 96% of the money. And I promise you, they know these things. And we are in a new era right now. There is an awakening happening, not just in the United States, but all around the world. There is an awakening happening because this information is starting to get out to the masses. And people are starting to get hungry for it. And the ones that take it serious and go to work are having absolutely massive quantum shifts in a very short amount of time. I know because I'm one of them. Natalie Bouchard upstairs is another one because we've seen the massive shifts in the last 8-12 months. Massive. Some people would call it miraculous, some of the things that we've seen happen. But it's because we knew that something was missing and we went out and we started working on that. I'm begging you guys, you've got to shift the old way. You've got to make room for it. One more little quick story and I'll stop because I can go on. You guys know I can. There's a guy living in a hut, okay? Living in this just hut, this old rundown hut. And he got word that he just inherited a mansion and a ton of money. All he had to do was leave that hut and go claim it. But he wanted proof before he left that hut that there was a mansion and money waiting for him. And they said, the proof is coming and claiming it. It's here for you. This is the proof, but you have to leave the hut. If you do not leave where you're at right now and go claim what's waiting for you, then you're pretty much saying, I'm happy right where I'm at. You got to make room for something new. You got to get rid of some of your old thoughts. You cannot be closed-minded and think, this is the way. If you're getting great results, then this is the way. But I promise you right now, every single one of us know what that longing feels like. We know what that discontent feels like. We know we got this feeling that says, I know I'm supposed to do more. There's more to life than this. We're not supposed to struggle financially. We're not supposed to have stress and worries. We're not supposed to live in an unhealthy body. We're not supposed to live without love in our life. That's not how we're designed. And if you don't have those things, you've got a longing and a discontent that is screaming to be expressed. We're in a prison of our own making. We have the key. All we have to do is reach around, stick it in the lock, and unturn it and go. But it all happens in your mind. You've got to understand that. Carlos?
Thank you so much, buddy. Couldn't agree more, guys. It's all within us and within our reach, and we live in a beautiful time in history where we have access. Before, when I was a child or even my parents, some of this information was reserved for those who had somebody in their family that had the information passed on to them. No longer we are in those times where we can remain ignorant to the fact that there is abundance of resources at our disposal. Just in this group alone, guys. Just the minds in this group alone will help you elevate yourself to a level that you've never thought possible before. And I got a book today that I'm starting to read. I'm not going to tell you the name yet until I finish. But just the first few paragraphs that I read is beautiful, and it says, you were built to live the dream you have inside. Every person on this earth has a gift. Dreams are your guide. Do you have the courage to grab your dream? I know you do. I see you ready to beam, to have a positive, lasting, meaningful impact on this world. You just need to act. And when I read that, I realized that's a big part of my why, guys. This is why, when given the chance to lead the way with this company, it was something that I knew was calling me from inside. and I will see thousands upon thousands of people rise to the occasion and go help others and fulfill their dreams. I love you all. Have a wonderful night. Have an amazing week. Let's go get it done.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Love you.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
Thank you for the birthday gift.
You're welcome, buddy. Appreciate you so much.
Awesome.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, love you, buddy. We'll talk to you guys soon. Excited for this week, guys. Go get it.
Awesome. Thank you. See you
Take
Thursday.
care, guys.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Bye.